Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a real pleasure for me. And I will let you present yourself first. I know a lot of people already know you, but I will let you present yourself.
Before we do this, your audio has a lot of echo.
Okay.
Do you care?
Okay. I will change.
You don't have a microphone?
I have a microphone in the studio, but my plan was to be live with you from a different place, not from the studio.
Okay. So you don't care about the echo? Do you want to test it and listen to yourself before we proceed? Because there is a lot of echo.
We will edit.
Okay.
We will cut the echo.
Okay.
Okay.
So you want to start all over, or you want me to just dive in?
I will let you present yourself first.
Okay. So you ready?
Yes.
Sure. So I'm Guy Kawasaki. I'm the chief evangelist of Canva and the creator of the Remarkable People podcast. In a prior life, I was chief evangelist of Apple, on the board of trustees of Wikipedia, Mercedes-Benz brand ambassador, author, speaker, and entrepreneur. That's who I am.
Okay. My first question is how you find your motivation to do a lot of great stuff and to continue to build and to help a lot of people.
Okay, so there's the answer that most people would give about changing the world, denting the universe, making the world a better place. But let me give you my version. I have 4 children. 2 of them are still in school, so I have a lot of tuition to pay. So that's what motivates me. I have to pay tuition. And so that's at one level. At another level, particularly with my podcast, because I think I have almost a moral obligation for my podcast because I have access to very remarkable people. So I want to bring their stories out so that people can be more remarkable too by listening to my podcast. And then that's about it. That's what motivates me. At the end of my life, I want people to describe me in 2 words, which is empower people. That's it. When all is said and done, I want people to say, yep, Guy empowered people with his podcast, his writing, his speaking, his interviews on other people's podcasts, his advising, his investing, all those kinds of things.
Thank you very much for doing this, Mr. Guy. And what an impressive career you built. And how many books is the second question? How many books you put out there for people?
I have written 15 books, although some people claim that I have written I have written 15 books, although some people claim that I have written one book 15 times.
Okay. Okay. It's a fantastic view. The next question is about actual company, Canva.
Yeah.
We all know Canva, but the question is, do you think you can do something better for a big corporation or a big brand? A big brand need to continue marketing and traction, or they need to relax on this part?
Well, it's a complex question. At no point should a large company, much less a small company, relax, because before there was Canva, there was Adobe. And I'm sure when Adobe first heard about Canva, they didn't think Canva was much of a threat. It's 2 people in Western Australia. We have Photoshop, we have Illustrator, we have the Creative Suite, we have PostScript, this page description language. How can 2 people in Western Australia possibly threaten us? So now that Canva is hugely successful, there's probably 2 people in Nigeria or 2 people in I don't know, Ukraine who are thinking the same way. So I don't think you can ever relax. And that is one of the hardest things to maintain, because there is a temptation to think, oh, I've reached critical mass and now I can relax. I also would say that's true about people too. I believe that I'm only as good as my last presentation. I'm only as good as my last podcast episode. And I don't think I can relax either. So that's just the way I live.
Yeah, thank you very much. A fantastic answer. Not a normal answer, but a fantastic one from my point of view. Yeah, you know.
Well, if I gave the same answers as everybody, you wouldn't have to have me on your podcast. So
Right, yeah, of course, 100%. But you just change a lot of, you will change with this podcast a lot of people mindset, because they will realize they cannot stop promoting their service or their company, right?
I mean, you can.
It's up to you, right?
Yeah, it's up to you. But I mean, think about, okay, here's a very good example. So think about Kodak. I hope your audience is young enough, or actually, I hope your audience is old enough to even know who Kodak was. But Kodak dominated film, right? And so the irony is that Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975. Now, none of us use Kodak today, but Kodak could have created the next curve in photography with digital cameras, but they were so successful on the film curve. I mean, can you imagine that engineer going to his boss saying, I figured out a way where people don't have to buy film anymore? Yeah, that was going to go over really big at Kodak. And that's a very good example of why you always have to be worried.
Okay, and it's a good thing too.
Yes, it's better to worry too much than too little. That's for sure.
A balance is the key.
Not even a balance. It should be weighted towards worrying too much.
Okay, a good one. This is another good one. Yeah, after this podcast, I will put a lot of quotes on my office with this interview. It's fantastic. The next question is about what's your best business advice you know, and you can share with the community, with founders at the beginning of their journey.
So I have lots of advice here. So first of all, remember that the purpose of a company is to create customers. Many people, when they're starting a company, they think the purpose of the company is to write pitches and raise money. That's not true. Writing pitches and raising money is a means to an end. The end is creating customers. So what's the main thing to do to create customers? Finish your freaking prototype. That's it. You should be focused on your prototype. And once you get your prototype done, that's when you can begin creating customers. Until you have your prototype done, it's all bullshit. So focus on the prototype. And the second thing I would say is that no matter how conservative and pessimistic your initial forecast is, it's going to be worse. So I have never met a company that said, this is our forecast, and they have achieved it. Never, ever. So basically, whenever I hear a forecast, particularly of an early stage company, I add a year and I divide by 10. So, if you say that in 6 months, we're going to be on a $5 million run rate, I parse to 18 months, they're going to be on a 500,000 runway.
Okay. Okay, you just closed my podcast. I was thinking you will. This is a realistic answer, right?
Yes.
So guys, don't stay motivated, because you are there to build something. But yeah, this is the reality. This is the reality. A business is not about raising capital from venture capital firms, right?
Yep.
It's about creating value. And if nobody wants to pay for what you are building something that people don't want.
Right. Doesn't matter.
That. Yeah, thank you very much. Another question. Do you think Canva, I know it's a hard question for you, but do you think Canva have the possibility to become 10 times bigger than what it is today?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think we'll be happy until we make every graphic and every video in the world.
Okay.
We truly want to democratize the process of improving your communication. Right now, we're improving people's graphics. We just started improving people's video. And so who knows what the next forms of communication will be, but that's the goal. We're all about them. We were initially about democratizing design. And I would say that we have achieved that. And now it's about democratizing whatever ways people want to communicate.
Wow. Wow. So a fantastic vision. And with people like you inside of the company, it's possible. Everything is possible.
Everything is possible even without me, but yeah. So, Melanie and Cliff and Cameron, they have very, very big ideas. It's not just about making graphics. It's larger than that.
Okay. Do you think a person like you can lose motivation?
Sure. Like when my kids graduate and I don't have tuition to pay, I'd be less motivated. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And what's the secret, I don't know, answer for keeping you motivated?
Well, I think for most people listening to this podcast, this question is irrelevant because they are not where I am right now. So listen, when you get to where I am, just cross that bridge when you come to it. Until then, don't worry about it. So, in a sense, you're asking someone, well, since you're successful, how do you keep motivated? Well, most of the people listening to this podcast are not yet there. So don't worry about that question. Just, when you have the next Canva, then you can address that question.
Okay. Okay. Probably I asked this question for me.
Okay.
I am a serial entrepreneur. I've sold a couple of businesses. I built another one, and I also want to inspire not only the part of the community unsuccessful and people who run to find the next Canva, but also for those who already sold 2, 3, 5 companies, and they are listening also our podcast.
Okay. Well, a very good test is, at the end of your life, what do you want people to say about you? And so will they say that you sold 2, 3, 4 companies, or will they say you democratized design? For me, what I want people to say is that I empowered people. And so, yeah, arguably, I can still do more for that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for empowering people. You just did that for 137,000 members of our community today. Yeah. Step by step. Yeah.
Yeah. So if 137,000 people are listening to this, all right.
Yeah.
I could tell you something. They should all go listen to my podcast. And the reason is because I have people who have truly achieved success, and they explain how. Yes. And people like Steve Wozniak, Jane Goodall, Margaret Atwood, Christy Yamaguchi. And these podcasts are all about them speaking. It's not me. It's not 50-50 Guy and the guest. It's 95 guest, 5 Guy. And so wouldn't you like to hear how Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs founded Apple, from Steve Wozniak, and what was going through their minds and how it all worked? That's what my podcast can do. And okay, so there's that kind of story. This is how I built this kind of story. But there's also, I have experts like the godfather of branding. This is Robert Cialdini. I have the godfather of, excuse me, I said that wrong. I have the godfather of influence, Robert Cialdini. I have godfather of branding, David Ocker. Angela Duckworth, MacArthur Award winner. She is the expert in grit, i.e. how to apply yourself. And Scott Galloway and Steve Wolfram, who created Mathematica. So if you want to listen to how entrepreneurs did it, man, my podcast is the place.
I also want to invite our community to your podcast. So guys, feel free. It's you will be part of a fantastic journey if you listen, guys, like Guy Kawasaki. He just explained you guys that his podcast is not about himself, only 5%, and 95% about other interesting and successful people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And thank you very much for doing this for the community. This a podcast from my point of view, it's a kind of back to society, right?
Yes. Yes.
More about selling your books, more about doing other stuff.
You know, I never, well, never is a strong word, but you know how when you listen to some people's podcasts, it's all about, well, if you want to learn more, buy my book. Or, well, if you want to learn more, click on the link above and it'll take you to my, course, How to Be Remarkable by Joe Blow. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm not trying to sell books. I don't even sell, these kinds of consulting. I don't do consulting. I have LinkedIn Learning and I have Skillshare courses, but I never mention them. I don't know how much more I could give you in value than my podcast for free. I don't know how I could do it. If somebody can figure that out, tell me. I'd give more. But this is it. This is not about me selling books, consulting, speeches, anything like that.
Yeah, you are just yourself.
For better or for worse, yes.
From my point of view, for better. This is
That's
how
good.
I see you. What's the next question? And the last one, what's your favorite entrepreneur in 2021?
My favorite entrepreneur? Well, probably Melanie Perkins,
Okay.
the CEO of Canva. I have very high regard for Elon Musk in some ways. In some ways, I don't. But, you got to admit that he has really changed the world. I mean, I think single-handedly, Tesla has convinced every other car manufacturer that, guess what? We need to be electric. He has such interesting solar panels, boring tunnels, flying to Mars. I mean, all kinds of interesting stuff. So I think probably Elon Musk is the closest thing we have to a Steve Jobs today.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your answers, for your time, and for your energy. You just empower a lot of people.
Well, where are most of your listeners?
On Facebook, it's one of the most active Facebook group, Entrepreneurs and Startups. We have around 20,000 active members every single day. Most of them, they are at the beginning of their journey, and we are here to help them understand how successful people think. Because it's not about making money, and it's not about running all day long. It's about more than that, right?
Well, no shit. Okay, I'm telling you, my podcast is perfect for them. Absolutely perfect for them. And it's not because of me, it's because of my guests. So I don't know. I expect 137,000 new subscribers after this episode. Okay. So I'll settle for 65,000. That's enough. But I'm telling you, there is no podcast better for your audience than this.
And thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. Guys,
let me tell you how I really feel.
Together, let's go, guys. Let's go.
All righty.
Thank you very much. I wish you a fantastic day, guys.
You're very welcome. You have a fantastic day too. All the best to you and all your listeners. Bye.
Bye now.